everyone! So in this video, I will be picking up where we left off in The Fall of Five by Pittacus Lore. Before that, I did want to say I'm so sorry for how long it's been and for my terribleness at keeping a schedule when it comes to YouTube. I'm probably one of the worst YouTubers in that aspect of not keeping a schedule, and I know that's really unfair to you guys, and I'm so sorry. Thank you guys for bearing with me and for your patience, and I'm sorry for any of you who, because of my lack of, getting through these videos in a timely manner. If you've gone out and bought the books and have already read them, I'm sorry, but I totally understand it. I definitely get it. So I appreciate your support, and I hope that you're still with me and that you still support my channel and that you'll still listen to some of the videos I read at least. But on a positive note, I have over 400 subscribers. Holy goodness gracious, that is crazy awesome. Thank you guys so much, all of you out there who are finding my channel and who really like it, and if you're spreading the word, that's kudos to you, because I never thought in a million years I'd have anywhere near this many subscribers, so it's wonderful. Thank you. I also am going to do my best to really try working on having somewhat of a schedule. I actually haven't taken my pills for about 20 days. They either got stolen out of my mailbox or the mail people just didn't deliver them. I've been having some issues with that lately. I live in a safe neighborhood and everybody's really friendly, so I'm pretty sure it's just the mail either delivered my medicine to the wrong place, but that has had me feeling very tired and just not motivated at all to do anything. I've really just been watching TV and sleeping every day. So that's kind of one of my many excuses for not doing YouTube. Also the fact that I guess I'm just a very lazy person without a sense of schedule or life. Anyway, I'm gonna do my best, and hopefully I can work on that and get better and start reading like I was reading on a regular basis, daily hopefully, and then post videos pretty often. So I hope you guys will bear with me and still support me, and I'm going to really try my best to do better at this, because I really don't want to lose you guys. You guys are all wonderful. I love that you're subscribed to my channel and that you listen to me read and that you like my passion for reading, and I don't want to lose that. So, but anyway, without further ado, let's get to The Fall of Five by Pittacus Lore, continuing where we left off in the last video, which I believe is chapter 4. Yes. So, we'll be reading chapter 4. Right now. Chapter 4. I take what has to be the greatest shower of my life in that grungy motel bathroom. Even the dark mold that spreads from the drain to the curled edges of the rubber bath mat can't dampen the experience. The hot water feels amazing, washing away weeks of Mogadorian captivity. After wiping fog off the cracked bathroom mirror, I take a long look at my reflection. My ribs show, my stomach muscles pronounced enough to give me a starving person's six-pack. I have dark circles under my eyes, and my hair's grown out more than it's ever been. So, this is what a human freedom fighter looks like. I pull on a t-shirt and jeans that I found in Adam's backpack. I have to use the very last notch on the belt to secure the jeans, and they still hang loose around my hips. My stomach growls, and I pause to wonder what kind of room service a sleazy motel like this might have. I bet the old man behind the front desk would be happy to send over a grilled cheese and cigarette butt sandwich. Back in the room, my dad has set up some of his equipment. There's a laptop open on the bed, a program scanning news headlines running. He's already trying to figure out our next move. It's late, well past midnight, and I haven't slept. Still, badly as I want to hook up with the guard, I was hoping our next move could be a stack of pancakes at the nearest diner. Anything? I asked, squinting at the laptop. My dad isn't paying the program any attention. He's sitting against the wall, still clutching that cheap cell phone, looking indecisive. He glances listlessly over at the laptop. Not yet. He probably won't call until he's someplace safe, I say. I reach down to ease the phone out of his hand, but he pulls it away. "It's not that," he says. "There's another phone call we need to make. I've been thinking about what to say the entire time you were in the shower, and I still don't know." His thumb traces out a familiar pattern on the phone's keypad, like he's working himself up to actually dialing. I'm so locked into this idea of fighting the guard and fighting the Mogadorians that, at first, I'm not even sure who he's talking about. When it dawns on me, I thump down on the bed, feeling as speechless as my father. "We have to call your mother, Sam." I nod, agreeing, but not really knowing what I'd say to Mom at this point. The last time she saw me, I'd just been in a fight with Mogadorians in Paradise and run off into the night with John and Six. I think I yelled that I loved her over my shoulder. Not my most sensitive exit, but I really did think I'd be back soon. I never dreamed I'd be taken prisoner by a race of hostile aliens. "She's going to be pretty mad, huh?" "She's mad at me," my dad says. "Not you. She'll just be happy to hear your voice and know you're safe." "Wait, you saw her?" "We stopped in Paradise before heading to New Mexico. It's how I found out you were missing." "And she's all right? The Mogs didn't go after her?" "Apparently not. But that doesn't mean she's all right. It's been hard for her with you gone. She blamed me, and she's not entirely wrong about that. She wouldn't let me in the house, understandably, so we had to sleep in my bunker." "With the skeleton?" "Yes, another one of my memory gaps. I've got no idea whose those bones belong to." My dad narrows his eyes at me. "Don't change the subject." A part of me is worried that Mom will ground me over the phone, and part of me is worried that the sound of her voice will make me want to forget about this whole war and rush home immediately. I swallow hard. "It's the middle of the night. Maybe we should wait till tomorrow." My dad shakes his head. "No, we can't put this off, Sam. Who knows what might happen to us tomorrow?" With that, suddenly resolute, my dad dials a number to our house. He holds the phone to his ear nervously, waiting. I have memories of my mom and dad together, old memories from before he disappeared. They were happy together. I wonder what must be going through my father's head right now, having to break the news that we're still not coming home. He's probably feeling the same guilt I am. "Answering machine," my dad says after a moment. He looks almost relieved. Then he covers the phone with his hand. "Should I?" He trails off as a tiny beep of the answering machine sounds in his ear. His mouth works soundlessly as he tries to figure out what to say. "Beth, this is..." he stammers, running his free hand through his hair. "It's Malcolm. I don't know where to begin. This answering machine may not be the best place, but I'm alive. I'm alive and I'm sorry, and I miss you terribly." My dad looks up at me, his eyes watery. "Our son is with me. I promise to keep him safe. One day, if you'll let me, I'll explain everything to you. I love you." He holds the phone out to me with a shaky hand. I take it. "Mom," I begin, trying not to overthink what I'm about to say, just letting it go. I finally found Dad. Or he found me. We're doing something amazing, Mom. Something to keep the world safe that, isn't dangerous at all, I promise. I love you. We'll be home soon." I hang up the phone, staring down at it for a moment before looking up at my father. His eyes are still shining as he reaches out and pats me on the knee. "That was good," he says. "I hope it was all true," I reply. "Me too." Chapter 5. The new day's first rays of light slip between the buildings, beating back the cool night air, turning Chicago's sky first purple and then pink. From the roof of the John Hancock Center, I watch the sun slowly rise over Lake Michigan. It's the third night in a row I've come up here, unable to sleep. We made it back to Chicago a few days ago, the first half of the journey in a stolen government van, the second on board a freight train. It's pretty easy to sneak across the country when one of your companions can turn invisible and another can teleport. I walk across the rooftop, peering over its edge as Chicago starts coming to life. The streets, the arteries of the city, are soon pumped full of bumper-to-bumper traffic and commuters hustling across the sidewalks. I shake my head as I look down at them. They've got no idea what's coming. Bernie Kosar ambles over to me in beagle form. He stretches, yawns, and then nuzzles my hand. I should feel happy to be alive. We battled Satrekis Raw in New Mexico and didn't suffer any casualties. What's left of the guard, with the exception of the still missing numbered 5, are all downstairs, safe and sound, mostly recovered from their injuries, and Sarah, she's down there too. I saved her. I look down at my hands. Back in New Mexico, they were covered with blood. Ella's blood and Sarah's blood. They're so close to their world ending, and they don't even know it. Bernie Kosar transforms into a sparrow, flies out over the gap between the John Hancock Center and the nearest building, and finally lands on my shoulder. I'm looking at the humans down below, but really I'm thinking about the guard. Everyone's just been chilling out since we came to Nine's tricked out penthouse. A little rest and recuperation was definitely in order. I just hope they haven't forgotten how close to ultimate defeat we came back in New Mexico, because it's all I can think about. If Ella hadn't somehow wounded Cetrekus, and that explosion in another part of the base hadn't driven off the rest of the Mogs, I'm not sure we would have made it. If I hadn't developed a healing legacy, Sarah and Ella would have died for sure. I can't get the image of their burned faces out of my mind. Well, we'll never get that lucky again. If we go in unprepared the next time we face the Trekkus Ra, we won't all survive. By the time I come down from the roof, most of the others have woken up. Marina's in the kitchen using her telekinesis to whisk a bowl of eggs and milk while simultaneously wiping some smudges from what used to be a spotless tile countertop. Since the seven of us and BK moved in, we haven't exactly taken the best care of Nine's fancy apartment. Marina waves when she sees me. Good morning. Eggs? Morning. Didn't you cook last night? Someone else should take a turn. I really don't mind, Marina says. She cheerfully pulls a smoothie blender down from a shelf. I still can't believe this place. I'm kind of jealous Nine got to live here for so long. It's so different from what I'm used to. Is it weird that I just want to try everything out? That's not weird at all. I help her finish wiping down the counter. As long as we're staying here, we should at least start taking turns cooking and cleaning. Yeah, Marina nods, glancing at me sideways. We should figure that out. What's with the look? It's nothing. Dividing up chores is a good idea, Marina says, then nervously looks away. She definitely has something else on her mind. Come on, Marina, what's up? She picks up a dish towel, wringing it while she speaks. For so long, I was living without direction, not really knowing what a guard should be like. Then, Six came to find me in Spain and showed me. And then, we met up with you and Nine, right before you led us into battle against the most evil Mogadorian in existence. It was like, wow, these two really know what they're doing. They can handle themselves. Thanks. But now, it's been days since we got back, and I'm starting to get that feeling again, like we don't know what we're doing, so I guess what I'm wondering is if there's a plan beyond chore duties. Working on that, I mumble. I don't want to tell Marina that our next move, or lack thereof, is what's been keeping me up at night. We have no idea where Cetrekus Ra might be holed up after the fight in New Mexico, and even if we did, I still don't feel like we're ready to take that fight to him. We could go looking for number 5, the locator tablet we found in Malcolm Good's underground bunker showed us a dot off the coast of Florida that pretty much has to be him. And then there's Sam. Sarah swore that she saw him in New Mexico, but we never came across him at Dulce. With Cetrekus Ra apparently able to take on other people's forms, I'm starting to believe that's who she saw, and that Sam's being held somewhere else, assuming he's still alive. So many decisions to make, not to mention the training we should be doing. Yet, I've been dragging my feet these last few days, too stuck on our near defeat in New Mexico to focus on making a plan. Maybe it's the comfort of Nine's penthouse after a near-death experience, not to mention years on the run for all of us. But it seems like the entire group needs a breather. If any of them have been beating themselves up over not having a proper plan, they haven't shown it. Oh, and there's something else distracting me too. I guess it's sort of like Marina wanting to try out all the appliances in Nine's fancy kitchen. I want to spend some time just being with Sarah. I wonder what Henry would think of that. He'd be disappointed in my lack of focus, I know that, but I can't help myself. As if on cue, Sarah wraps her arms around my waist from behind, nuzzling her face into the back of my neck. I was so wrapped up in my own thoughts that I didn't even hear her pad into the kitchen. Good morning, handsome, Sarah says. I turn around and give her a slow, sweet kiss. Stressed out as I've been, I'm sort of getting used to mornings like this. Mornings where I get to wake up and kiss Sarah, then have a normal day with her, and go to bed knowing she'll be there when I wake up. Sarah puts her face close to mine, whispering, You were up early again. I grimace. I thought I'd been quiet, sneaking out of bed in the morning to go think things through on the roof. Is everything all right? Sarah asks. Yeah, of course, I say, trying to distract her with another kiss. You're here. How could it not be? Marina clears her throat, probably worried we're going to start making out right in the kitchen. Sarah winks at me and turns away, plucking Marina's floating whisk out of the air and taking over on the eggs. Oh, Sarah says, looking back at me. Nine's looking for you. Great, I reply. What's he want? Sarah shrugs. I didn't ask. Maybe he wants to share some fashion tips. She touches a finger to her lips thoughtfully, studying me. Actually, that probably wouldn't be so bad. What do you mean? Sarah winks at me. He's lost his shirt. Again. I groan, heading out of the kitchen to go find Nine. I realize the penthouse is his home and he has a right to make himself comfortable, but he's been strutting around shirtless almost every opportunity he gets. I'm not sure if he expects the girls to suddenly start fawning over him, or if he's just doing the whole gun show thing to annoy me. Probably both. I find Six sitting in the penthouse's spacious living room. Her legs are tucked underneath her on a plush white couch, a cup of coffee cradled in her hands. We haven't talked much since coming back from New Mexico. I'm still not totally comfortable being around her. And Sarah at the same time. I think Six might feel the same, because I definitely get the sense that she's avoiding me. Six looks up when I enter, her eyes half opened and drowsy. She looks as tired as I feel. Hey, I say, how was she last night? Six shakes her head. She was up all night. She's just now getting some good rest. Add Ella's nightmares to the list of problems we need to deal with. They've been a nightly thing ever since we left New Mexico, so bad that Six and Marina have been alternating sleeping in her room, trying to make sure she doesn't get too freaked out. I lower my voice. Does she tell you what she sees? Bits and pieces, Six says. She hasn't been real talkative, you know? Before New Mexico, Nine and I had visions that seemed a lot like nightmares, I say, trying to think this through. 8 mentioned something similar. At first, we thought they were Cetrachus Raw taunting us somehow, but they also seemed like some kind of warning. At least, that's how I thought of them. Maybe we should try figuring out what Ella's mean. Sure, I guess they could be some coded message, Six says dryly. But have you considered there's a simpler explanation? Like what? Six rolls her eyes. Like she's a kid, John. Her C-Pen just died. She was almost killed herself just a couple days ago, and who knows what's in store for her next. Hell, I'm surprised we don't all have nightmares every freaking night. There's a comforting thought. These aren't real comforting times. Before I can reply, 8 appears on the couch next to 6. She jumps, nearly spilling her coffee, and immediately fixes 8 with a steely glare. 8 puts his hand up defensively. Whoa, sorry, he says. Don't kill me. You've got to stop doing that, 6 replies, setting her coffee down. 8 is dressed in workout clothes, his curly hair shoved underneath a fuzzy sweatband. He nods to me, then aims his most disarming smile at 6. Come on, 8 says. You can take it out on me in the lecture hall. 6 stands up, pleased by the idea. I'm going to pummel you. What are you guys working on? I ask. Hand to hand, answers 8. I figured since 6 pretty much murdered me back in New Mexico. For the last time, that was not me, 6 interrupts, annoyed. The least she could do is show me some new moves so I can defend myself the next time she attacks. 6 tries to punch 8 in the arm, but he quickly teleports behind the couch. See? 8 grins. I'm already too quick for you. 6 bounds over the couch after him, and 8 sprints off toward the lecture hall. Before giving chase, 6 looks back at me. Maybe you should try talking to Ella, 6 says. Me? Yeah, she replies. Maybe you can decide if her visions mean something or if she's just traumatized. As soon as 6 leaves the room, there's a heavy thud on the floor behind me. I turn around to find Nine grinning at me. Shirtless, just like Sarah said he'd be, gripping a sketch pad in his meaty hands. I glance up at the ceiling. How long were you standing up there? 9 shrugs. I do my best thinking upside down, dude. I didn't realize you did any thinking. Okay, fair point. You usually do enough thinking for all of us. He thrusts the sketch pad at me, but check this out. I take the sketch pad and start thumbing through the pages. They're covered with floor plans drawn in Nine's precise hand. It's like the architecture of some military base, yet it looks strangely familiar. Is this West Virginia? Nine declares proudly. Every detail I could remember. This should come in handy when we make our assault on the place. I'm sure it's where that fat jerk-off Cetrachus is hiding. I sit down on the couch, tossing the sketchpad on the cushion next to me. When I wanted to attack the cave, you were totally against it. That was after you'd run into a force field like a dummy, he replies. I said we needed numbers. We've got numbers. Speaking of which, did you check the tablet this morning? 9 nods. 5 staying put for now. We've been keeping an eye on our locator tablet since returning to Chicago. 5, the one guard we haven't made contact with, has been on an island off the coast of Florida for the last few days. Before we left for New Mexico, he was in Jamaica. His moving around is standard Lorik off on the run protocol. Finding him, even with the tablet to point us in the right direction, might not be easy. Now that we've had a chance to rest up, I think we should make it a priority. The more of us, the better, right? And maybe, while we're searching for 5, Shadrakas Ra mounts a full-scale invasion of Earth. 9 slaps the front of his sketchpad for emphasis. We've got him on the run. We should finish it off now. On the run? I asked, staring at 9. That's not exactly how I remember it. What? He did retreat, didn't he? I shake my head. You think you're ready for a rematch? You tell me. 9 curls one of his arms behind him and juts the other out overhead, a bodybuilder pose. I can't help but laugh. I'm sure he'll be intimidated by flexing. It's more intimidating than sitting around, anyway, counters 9 as he flops down on the couch next to me. You really think we should go straight storming West Virginia after the beating we just took at Dulce? 9 looks down at his fists, clenching and unclenching them, probably remembering how close he came to being finished off by Sethrukis. How close we all came. I don't know, he says after a pause. I just wanted to give this to you so you know it's an option, alright? You might not think I'm, capable of learning my limitations and shit like that, but back in New Mexico, I was maybe just slightly over my head trying to fight Sethrukis alone. 6 went off on her own too, 8 got wrecked, and everyone else was getting shot up. But you kept it together, man. You kept us together. Everyone knows it. I still don't buy your bullshit about being Pittacus reincarnated or whatever, but you've got that team captain vibe. So you do the leading and I'll do the ass-kicking. It's what we're best at. Best? I don't know. 6 is pretty good at ass-kicking too. 9 snorts. Yeah? She was super badass in her freaking ceiling cocoon. That's not the point, Johnny. The point is, I need you to tell me what to punch, and I need you to tell me soon or I'm gonna go stir-crazy up in here. I take another look at 9's sketchpad. From the look of it, he probably got right to work on these drawings as soon as we returned from New Mexico. For all his bluster, at least he's been trying his best to come up with a way to take the fight to the Mogadorians. Meanwhile, I've been stuck in this rut, unable to sleep, thinking myself in circles alone on the rooftop. I wish Henry was here, I say, or Sander, or any of the Sea-Pans, really. Someone that could tell us what to do next. Yeah? Well, they're dead, replies 9 bluntly. It's up to us now, and you're always the one with the ideas. Hell, the last time I wouldn't go along with your plan, I almost had to throw you off a roof. I'm not a Sea-Pan. No, but you're a freaking know-it-all. 9 pats me hard on the back, which I've come to realize is as close as he gets to real affection. Quit whining, cut down on the snuggling with your little human girlfriend, and come up with some brilliant plan. A week ago I would have bristled at 9 calling me a whiner and needling me about Sarah. Now I know he's just trying to motivate me. This is his version of a pep talk, and embarrassing as it is, I sort of needed to hear it. What if I just don't have a plan? I ask quietly. That, Johnny boy, is simply not an option. Chapter 6. I'm back on the roof again. I'm back on the roof of the John Hancock Center. This time, I'm not alone. We don't have to talk about it if you aren't ready, I say gently, looking at the huddled form sitting Indian-style on the roof next to me. Ella has a blanket wrapped around her shoulders, even though it isn't that cold on the roof. Somehow, she looks smaller than usual, and I wonder if stress is causing her to revert back to a younger age. Beneath the blanket, she's wearing one of 9's old flannel shirts. It comes all the way down to her knees. Lately, it seems like the only time she's able to sleep peacefully is in the afternoons. She probably wouldn't have gotten out of bed at all today if Marina hadn't gently prodded her to come up here and talk to me. I'll try, she says, her voice hard to hear above the wind. Marina said you might be able to help. Thanks, Marina, I think. I've barely spoken to Ella one-on-one since we first met in New Mexico. I guess this is a good opportunity to get to know her better. Although I wish it was under better circumstances, I badly want to help her. I'm just not sure I know how. I'm hardly an expert on these visions, or a psychiatrist if that's what she needs. This is the kind of talk that would normally be left to a Sea-Pan, but like 9 reminded me earlier, we're out of all that. Out of all those. I try to sound confident. Marina's right. I've had dreams before. Dreams about him? Ella asks, and by the way her voice drops, there can be no doubt who she's talking about. Yeah, I reply. That ugly freak has spent so much time in my head I should be charging him rent. Ella smiles a little. She stands up, kicking some loose gravel across the roof. Tentatively, I put my hand on her shoulder. She sighs, almost like it's a relief. It always starts the same way, Ella begins. We're back at that base, fighting Citrecus and his minions. We're, losing. I nod. Yeah, I remember that part. I pick up a piece of metal from the floor. I don't know what it is exactly. A broken piece of a sword, maybe. When I touch it, it starts glowing in my hand. Wait, I say, trying to piece this part together. Is that what happened, or is this just in a dream? That's what happened, she says. I was scared and just grabbed the first thing I could. My big plan was to just chuck stuff at him until he stopped hitting 9. From where I was standing, it looked like some kind of dart, I say, remembering the fight, all the smoke and chaos. A glowing dart. I thought it was something you got from your chest. I never had a chest, Ella replies sullenly. I guess they forgot to pack me one. Ella, do you know what I think? I'm trying to be comforting, but the excitement is hard to keep out of my voice. I think you developed a new legacy back there, and we were all too panicked to realize it. Ella looks down at her hands. I don't get it. I pick up a handful of loose stones from the roof and hold them out to her. I think you did something to that broken piece of sword, and when you hit Citrecus Raw with it, you hurt him. Oh, she replies, not sounding at all thrilled. Do you think you could do it again? I hold the stones out toward her. I don't want to, she answers sharply. It felt wrong, somehow. You were just scared. I start, trying to encourage her, but when she takes a step away from me, I realize I've made a mistake. She's still shaken up by the fight, these dreams, her legacies. I let the stones drop. Back to the roof. We all were. It's okay. You can worry about that later. Finish telling me about the dreams. She's quiet for a moment, and I think maybe she's withdrawing completely. But after a moment, she starts again. I throw the piece of metal at him, she says, and it sticks inside him, just like at the base, except in my dream, instead of retreating, Citrecus turns to face me. Everyone else, all of you guys, disappear, and it's just me and him alone in that smoky room. Ella wraps her arms around herself, shivering. He pulls the dart out, and he smiles at me with those horrible teeth. I'm stuck standing there like an idiot while he walks over and touches my face, caresses it with the back of his hand. His touch is ice cold, and then he talks to me. I feel like shivering too, actually. The thought of Citrecus Raw strolling up to Ella and putting his disgusting hand on her, it turns my stomach. What does he say? I ask. She pauses, lowering her voice. He says, there you are, and then, I've been looking for you. And then what happens? He gets down on his knees. Her voice drops to a chilled whisper. He holds out one of my hands in both of his, and he asks me if I've read the letter. What letter? Do you know what he's talking about? Ella hunches the blanket tighter around her shoulders, not looking at me. No. I can tell by the way she answers that Ella isn't being totally honest. There's something about this letter, whatever it might be, that's shaken her up almost as much as these visions of Citrecus Raw. From her description, I don't know if these dreams are like the ones I've had, like the one where Citrecus showed me Sam being tortured to try baiting me into fighting him, or if it's like Six suggested that these nightmares are simply a result of all the really awful things Ella's been through lately. I don't want to press her any further. She already seems close to tears. I wish I could tell you I could make the dreams go away, I began, finding myself doing my best Henry impression. But I can't. I don't know what causes them. I only know how painful they can be. Ella nods, looking disappointed. Okay. If you see him in a dream again, just remember he can't hurt you. And when he tries to hold your hand, you punch him right in his ugly face. Ella cracks a smile. I'll try. I'm not sure if anything I said really helped Ella, but one detail from our conversation sticks with me. Whatever she hit Citrecus Raw with, I'm sure that it was the result of her developing a new legacy. She charged up that projectile, and somehow it hurt him, or at least distracted him enough that we were able to get our legacies back. Now I just need to convince her to try doing it again, and hopefully figure out exactly what this new legacy can do. If it worked once, maybe it will work again. If I'm going to put together a plan to finally kill Citrecus Raw, I'm going to need every weapon we have at my disposal. I head down to the lecture hall, hoping to find something in my chest or in Nine's arsenal that might help draw out Ella's legacy. I remember when Henry used the warming stone on me to help me first gain control of my lumen. I wonder if something like that would help Ella. I'm deep in thought when I hear the muffled sound of gunshots. I flinch automatically, hunching down, my hands growing hot as my lumen switches on. It's instinct. I know the difference between Mog blasters and Nine's gun collection, which some of the others have taken to practicing with. I also know we're safe here, at least for now. If the Mogs knew where we were, all of us together, their assault would be a hell of a lot noisier than one gun going off. Even considering all that, my heart is still pounding and I feel ready for a fight. I guess Ella isn't the only one jumping from the battle in New Mexico. I push my way through the heavy double doors of the lecture hall, my hands glowing dimly because I'm still a little on edge. I'm expecting to find Nine twirling a gun outlaw style into its holster, killing time by shooting up paper targets. Instead, I find Sarah squeezing off the last round from a small handgun. The bullet tears through the shoulder of a paper Mogadorian hanging at the far end of the room. "Not bad," says Six as she pulls off a pair of noise-canceling headphones. She's standing next to Sarah, watching over her shoulder. Six uses her telekinesis to pull the paper Mog closer. Most of Sarah's shots ripped through around the edges or caught the Mog in the arms and legs. One, however, tore right through, right between his eyes. Sarah pokes her finger through that hole. "I can do better than this," she says. "It's not as easy as cheerleading, huh?" Six says good-naturedly. Sarah unloads her spent cartridge and jams home a fresh one. You've obviously never tried a full layout twist. I don't even know what that is." Watching this scene play out, I feel suddenly and inexplicably nervous. Admittedly, there's something about her waving a gun around that makes Sarah hot in a dangerous way that I never really considered. But it also makes me feel guilty, like I'm the reason she's stuck here taking target practice instead of being back in paradise living a normal life. Plus, there's the fact that I haven't mentioned kissing Six to Sarah, or even talked about it with Six, and now here the two of them are, hanging out. I know I should come clean about that to Sarah, eventually, when she's not carrying a loaded weapon, maybe. I clear my throat, trying to sound casual. "Hey, what's going on?" Both girls turn around to look at me. Sarah smiles big and waves with the hand not holding the gun. "Hey, babe," she says. "Six was just helping me learn to shoot." "Yeah? Cool. I didn't realize that's something you wanted to do." Six gives me a strange look, like who wouldn't want to learn to shoot? An awkward moment passes between us where I'm feeling almost mad at her for giving Sarah this lesson without my permission. Not that Sarah needs my permission to do anything. The whole situation has me feeling flustered, and I must look it, because Six eases the gun out of Sarah's hand. She clicks the safety on and holsters it. I think that's good for now. Six says. "Let's do some more tomorrow." "Oh," replies Sarah, sounding disappointed. "All right." Six pats Sarah on the arm. "Good shooting." Then she fixes me with a tight smile that I'm not at all sure what to make of. "Later, guys," she says, and breezes past me out the door. Sarah and I stand in silence for a moment, the lights of the lecture hall buzzing overhead. "So," I begin awkwardly. "You're being weird," she says, eyeing me, her head tilted to the side. I pick up the paper Mogadorian, examining Sarah's handiwork while I figure out what to say. "I know. Sorry. I just never took you for the armed and dangerous type." Sarah frowns at me. "If I'm going to be with you, I don't want to be a damsel in distress." "You're not. Come on," she snorts. "Who knows how long I would have rotted in New Mexico if you hadn't shown up. And then, John, you pretty much brought me back to life." I slide my arm around her, not wanting to think about Sarah at my feet, nearly dead. "I'd never let anything happen to you." She shrugs me off. "You can't say that for sure. You can't do everything, John." "Yeah," I say. "I'm starting to realize that." Sarah looks up at me. I thought about calling my parents today. It's been weeks. I wanted to tell them I'm all right." "That's not really a good idea. The Mogadorians or the government could be monitoring your house for phone calls. They could be tracking us." The words sound so cold and I regret them almost right away, how quickly I'm slipping into paranoid and practical leader mode. But Sarah doesn't seem offended. In fact, it looks like it's exactly what she expected me to say. "I know," she says, nodding. "That's exactly what I thought, and it's why I didn't actually go through with it. I don't want to go home. I want to stay here with you guys and fight. But I don't have any Lorax superpowers. I'm just dead weight. I want to practice shooting so I can be more than that." I grab Sarah's hand. You are more than that. I need you here with me. You're pretty much the only thing keeping me from completely melting down. I get it, she says. You're going to save the freaking world, and I'm going to help you. That whole saying about being behind every great man, there's a great woman. I can be that for you. I just want to be a great woman with excellent aim. I can't help but laugh, the tension between us breaking. I lift Sarah's hand and kiss it. She wraps her arms around my waist and we hug. I don't know what I was so tied. I don't know why I was what I was so tied up in knots about. Having Sarah here just makes everything seem easier. Coming up with a battle plan to take down the Mogadorians, no problem. And as for that one kiss with Six, it just doesn't seem to matter anymore. 8 teleports into the room with a puff of displaced air. He's wide-eyed and excited, but turns sheepish when he sees us. Whoa, 8 says. Sorry, I didn't expect canoodling. Sarah snickers and I glare jokingly at 8. This better be good. You should go to the workshop and see for yourself. I gotta go get the others. With that cryptic message, 8 teleports away. Sarah and I exchange a look and then rush out of the lecture hall and into Sanders' old workshop. 9 is already there, his arms crossed as he watches the bank of television screens on the wall. They're all turned to the same image, a newscast from the local station in South Carolina. 9 pauses the broadcast when we enter, freezing a still image of a gray-haired anchor. I turned on some of Sanders' old programs the other day, 9 explains. They scan news feeds for weird shit that might be Lorik related. Yeah, Henry had the same thing set up. Uh-huh. Typical boring CPAN stuff, right? Except this popped up tonight. 9 restarts the broadcast, the anchor resuming his teleprompter reading. Authorities are at a loss to explain the vandalism of a local farmer's crops early yesterday morning. The prevailing theory is high school prank, but others have suggested. I tune out the anchor's theories as the image switches to an overhead shot of a twisting, maze-like emblem burned into the cornfield. It might look like a juvenile prank to a newscaster, but we recognize it immediately. Burned into those crops with jagged precision is the Lorik symbol for 5. Dum dum dum! Alright, so that was the end of Chapter 6. We will finish up for the day on that and pick back up on Chapter 7 in the next video. I hope you guys are still enjoying this. Let me know in the comments below what you're thinking of the book so far. I would really like to know because I haven't seen any comments thus far just right now about what your opinions are of the books. But let me know. Okay, if you've already subscribed, that's awesome. If you haven't, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up to give me a like. And that's it for now. Until next time, Reading by Ree. Bye.